Dr. Rachada Gana-Radic, please, I would like to ask you first to please give a brief comment about for the next 15 minutes, and Mr. Konyotolan is second. So would you please kindly first give just briefly about your presentation of 10 to 15 minutes, please.
タイの国会議員であり、ASEAN 国会議員によるミャンマー県 AIPMC 代表のラチャダ・ガナディレさん。
こんにちは。Good morning, honorable speakers, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rachada Ganadire. I'm a member of the Parliament from Thailand. On behalf of AIPMC and its president, Mr. Praisak Chunwan, I would like to thank you for inviting me here to share my thought about the situation in Burma. Of course, what I would like to say here is just an opinion of mine, who one day would like to visit Burma as a foreign minister. And of course, I don't have yet the privilege of speaking on behalf of the Royal Thai government or the Democrat Party of Thailand. So I will be very careful with what I speak, and perhaps the paper you have in mind is slightly different from what I'm going to say. So please bear with me for 15 minutes. I was lucky that I was here in the morning and was briefed by many honorable guests about the situation in Burma. So the feeling I have, I'm here not to speak as a member of the Parliament from Thailand, but I'm also a privilege of mine to speak for the better for the Burmese friends who are here and who is living in Burma now. Now is an important time to have a dialogue such as what we have today. The announcement 2 months ago of the United States revised policy towards Burma, which paired direct engagement with tough economic sanctions, has fostered an atmosphere of cautious hope regarding the future of Burma, not witnesses in recent years. The decision of the U.S. to pursue direct high-level dialogue with the reclusive generals who control Burma's government has refocused the attention of the international community on the highly disturbing situation in the country, and has spurred activities that start a genuine dialogue of reconciliation among the opposing actors. Though it is much too early to make any claims of concrete progress, early signs from the military-controlled government to give cause for hope that the people of Burma may, in not too distant future, may see their country embark on a journey towards a more democratic and just society. As you are well aware, a political stalemate has gripped Burma for nearly 2 decades. Following a defeat in the 1990 elections, the military leaders refused to allow the National League for Democracy and other winning parties to convene the legitimately elected parliament and form a government. Party leaders and democratic activists, including NLD leader Aung San Suu Kyi, were jailed, detained, and refrained from expressing their opinions. This has created a situation of conflict and polarization that has persisted to this day. After completing a draft constitution in 2008, the SPDC announced its intention to hold a general election for next year. In anticipation of this election, the NLD issued the Sui Gongdang Declaration in April of this year, outlining the conditions on which it will contest the planned elections. In the declaration, the NLD called for, among other things, the release of our political prisoners, including Aung San Suu Kyi, and the revision of SPDC's 2008 constitution, which is seen as unjust and heavily skewed toward maintaining the military dominance. And the third one is dialogue on various issues of concern. The Sui Gongdang Declaration, in my opinion, offers the opposing forces in Burma a starting point, a place of embarkation from which they can begin dialogue necessary to bring about national reconciliation and genuine reform. Through declaration, one could say that NLD is again extending a hand, showing its willingness to compromise with the generals to bring about the changes that are in the best interest of the country, while respecting the role that each party can and must play in meaningful reconciliation. To the outside world, dialogue, as suggested in the declaration, seems to be the best way forward for the troubled country. It identifies as the key component the revision of the SPDC's 2008 Constitution. One cannot deny that the Constitution, which was written by delegates and picked by the military-controlled government, is not quite truly based on democratic principles. The SPDC inserted various provisions into the Constitution that allow military to have significant block of seats in the national and local legislature. The Constitution also gives the Commander-in-Chief of the military extraordinary powers and allows the military to easily step in if the country is deemed to be in crisis. All of these provisions serve to entrench the role of the military in the future governance of Burma and ensure that the military elites do not lose their power to a civilian government. Nor can it be denied that despite claims from the SPDC that the Constitution was approved by nearly 94% of the voting population in May 2008 referendum, many groups have openly voiced their opposition to the Constitution. As a fundamental law of the state, the Constitution must be acceptable to the citizen that it governs. The SPDC's Constitution clearly is not accepted by large segments of the Burmese population and must be revised to ensure legitimacy of any future government elected under its provisions. Only after the Constitution has been adequately revised should a general election be conducted. One can understand why many consider the SPDC's plan to hold a general election next year. Under the current version of the 2008 Constitution, premature votes will only result in a government devoid of legitimacy. Additionally, the current atmosphere in the country may not guarantee that the election next year will be free, fair, and inclusive. Over 2,000 political prisoners, including the leader of the largest opposition party, are currently detained in Burma's jail or under house arrest. The NLD and countless other domestic and international actors, including the Japanese Minister of Foreign Affairs, Katsuya Okada, have called on the military-controlled government to release all the political prisoners and ensure that they are permitted to participate as voters and candidates in the election. Others have also called for the government to allow non-government supporter parties to organize, campaign, and field candidates.